Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you hear my cat, I'm sorry. But if you see the title, it's going to be titled something like Redirection. And there might be a little bit more information, but if you see the title, you're probably wondering, what is she doing? Okay, so I've been on this journey of trying to understand, like, what am I on this earth for? And I know it has something to do with talking about mental health, and I've known that for a while. I've known that I need to be here to talk about the healing process, the growing process, everything in between, and I finally think God has led me to it. I finally think I'm ready to talk about it all. I have been working on something over the past few months, and that's honestly why I haven't really been uploading that much for the podcast. But we're back, we're better, we are redirected, and I want to tell you a little bit of how this all happened. So I have my iPad here, I have some notes, and I just don't want to miss any of the big points. So I'm going to be reading off of my iPad. Lily, be quiet. Okay, that's my cat. She's being very loud and I'm not sure why. But basically, if you are new, if this is your first time listening, this podcast was not called the Mindful Podcast, and it was not associated with the Mindful Society. This a week ago was called the Self-Made Society, and it was had the right aspects behind it, had the right direction, but it didn't have the right main point, and it was self over God, and it was completely wrong, and I admit to it, and I wish that this wasn't even a thing. Like, I wish I wouldn't have even named it that, because at the end of the day, like, we're not made by ourselves. We are made with the direction that God has for us, the plan that God has for us. We are made in the image of God, and so it was just very wrong for me to even name it that. I absolutely loved the name. I love society in the name, and we're just gonna get into it, okay? We're just gonna get into it. First, if you're watching the video, isn't my Christmas tree really cute? Yep. I absolutely love it. I got it from Hobby Lobby. Anyways, so we are going to be talking about redirection. We are going to be talking about moving from one point of our lives to the next that's going to make us better, honestly. Like, just make us better all around, and it's going to help so many other people. It's going to give glory to God. And before, like, I have had so many redirection like points in my life, but this one is huge. So I have two main points, but there's 5 small points under the first one, and the first main point is the Self-Made Society. So I made it at a time where I was going to church all the time, and reading the Bible here and there, and like knowing, like, deep down, like, God was the thing that I needed to focus on. But I was in a relationship that was very wrong for me, and that was tearing me farther and farther away from God every single day. And I just wasn't living for Him. I was living in the world, but also loving going to church. Like, I did enjoy going to church. There were times where I felt more obligated to go instead of actually wanting to go, but like, I still went, and I still knew that my heart was connected to God, but I was fighting so many things and trying to figure it all out by myself that it wasn't going good. It was not it. So I'm trying to heal myself, and I realized, like, there wasn't really a community that I was aware of that talked about the things I wanted to talk about. There was so much that I felt like I wasn't finding, or I wasn't having any resources. And so I wanted to create something. I wanted to create, at the time, the self-made society in hopes that I was going to heal the things that I was struggling with and do it by myself. Like, I literally thought that I was doing it by myself. And this started like closer to the beginning of 2022. But I started the podcast for the Self-Made Society in June, like middle of June, end of June, around that time. So the podcast is still fresh, it's still new. But it wasn't, it was all just based on the wrong thing. All based on self instead of God. And so it was just, it felt like something was missing. And so I didn't post much. I didn't really have much inspiration to post. I didn't really have the motivation to post because it just felt like something was meant to be talked about, but I wasn't sure what it was. Obviously, now I know what it is, and if you've been following along the past month or so with the podcast, even as the name, the Self-Made Society, I was still posting about God and still posting about oh my god, religion. I couldn't even think of the word, but I was still posting about those things because my heart changed and I wanted to change the way my life was going. And so I started the podcast, and a few weeks later I went through a breakup. And so I didn't post for a little while on the podcast. I wanted to just get better and heal and not heal while recording. And I am so grateful that I was very gracious with myself. But during that time, like, right after the breakup, while I wasn't posting or wasn't recording, whatever, God called me home and I was healing. And I wasn't just healing from the breakup, but I was healing from so many different things. I finally realized the thing that was missing. I finally felt at home and at peace, and I finally felt joy. And while I was still struggling with the things that were going on in real life, I felt like my heart was whole again. And I just knew, like, in one of the times that's supposed to be the most difficult time of anybody's life, like, going through a breakup is not easy because you have to realize how to live again by yourself. And yes, I have family and friends, but it wasn't like he was the main thing in my life. And so I just, you have to re-navigate things. But I felt so whole again. I felt so at peace with everything, and it was really weird, and it's still really weird. Like, I can't even explain the peace that I have. Like, it is absolutely insane. And there's this real audio that's like, there's just gonna be a time where you have this peace that just doesn't make any sense. And like, that's where I'm at. Like, he called me home and he gave me the peace that I've been looking for over the past 4 years. And it was absolutely insane, and it's still insane. And like, I wish I would have listened to him sooner. I know we always wish that, but so the day that me and my ex broke up, I had an interview at the church. And after the interview, about like the next week, I want to say like probably 4 or 5 days later, I don't even remember, I got the call and I got offered the position, and I took it. And so I work at a church. I have been surrounded by so many amazing people. I've made so many great friends. I am plugged in. Like, it's absolutely insane. I absolutely just love everything. But after I started there, so many things were clicking. Like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Like, they're all pointing towards the wrong thing. And the main one was the business. And while, like I said, the whole point behind the business is to heal and to grow. And so that was it. But the name was not it. The name was not glorifying God in any way, and everything that is supposed to be going on in our lives is supposed to be doing that, and it just was not happening. And so I was like, he was telling me, like, you need to change the name, like, this is not working, like, you need to change it. And so I'm thinking of a name. 2 weeks goes by, I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna be naming this thing. Nothing's clicking, nothing at all. And so that day that I was like, oh my gosh, like what am I going to name? What am I going to rename this? What am I going to rename it while we're going through this redirection of this growing stage and with the business and everything, and making it what God is telling me that we need to make it, and doing what God's kingdom needs. And so I'm like, you know what, God, like, take this. You will tell me whenever the time is right. You will give me the name. You will tell me. And I'm seriously so sorry if you can hear my cat. She's being so loud and ridiculous, and I have no idea why. Like, she's literally walking around my room just meowing. Lily, please be quiet. I love you, and we will cuddle, but just please be quiet, okay? So, anyways, I am just like, God, like, you will give it to me whenever time is right. Like, we will go forward after the name, like, whatever, you will give it to me. And so I go to bed that night, and I had this insane dream. Like, it was so crazy. I don't remember any detail except for this word, mindfulness. I just know that the dream was crazy, and that when I woke up the next morning, mindfulness was the only thing that I remember. Now, if that isn't God telling me what the name is supposed to be, like, I was like, are you serious? So for the next week or so, before I did anything else with it, I was like, are you sure? Like, I was praying almost every single day, multiple times a day. God, are you sure? Like, this is the name that you want me to use? Like, I don't even know the full thing behind mindfulness. Like, I know it's like being mindful of the thoughts that you have and taking care of yourself, but like, I don't really know everything about it. And so I got the name. And I have to read this point off of my iPad because it's really good. After that, after getting the name, I realized not only do we want to grow and become better for God's kingdom, but we have healing to do as well. And so this took me to a point of, excuse me, sorry, I just yawned. This took me to a point of, like, we got healing to do and then growing to do. And we got all of this to do for God's kingdom to be better and to go out into the world and to get other people to realize, like, not all Christians are bad people. Like, there's some that just don't do things the right way. There's some that don't love the right way. There's some that don't live like Jesus. And that's what we're here to do. We are supposed to be little Christ. And I think it's just so insane to me how people can go and, like, be okay with calling themselves Christians but not living like it and not living like Jesus. And so that, at a point in my life, that's what I was doing. And now I'm like, all right, this is like, we're not doing this anymore. We are full force going into this new life that we're creating, and God is going to be the thing that we're focused on. God is going to be the center of every single aspect of our lives. We are going to do everything that we can to live like Him, love like Him, and like, it's happening. And so I started working on the logo of the business. I absolutely love flowers and line art. If you can see above me, there's 3 that you can see, but I have 3 more above it. So I have 6 line art flower pictures with, like, woman, it's like woman inspired. So I love it. I love line art. I love flowers. They're like two of my favorite things, and the color pink as well. So I'm working on the logo, and I come up with this logo, and I absolutely love it. It is amazing. And after the breakup, like a few weeks after, I wanted to do this photo shoot, and I found this picture that I absolutely love. It's like me, well, it wasn't me, it was inspiration from somebody, but my picture is me holding flowers with my head tilted back, hair in front of my face. Like, absolutely love it. Listen, guys, that is literally what the logo is. I created the logo, and then like last week I remembered I took those pictures, and I was like, that's not a coincidence. Like, that was mind-blowing to me. That was absolutely mind-blowing. But I also, like, while trying to figure out what I was going to be posting about for the business, what I was going to be doing and stuff for social media, I posted a reel on my main Instagram page. It was the most simplest reel ever. It was just a song with a like sunrise video, and it's still blowing up. Like, my phone is constantly going off because of this reel. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for it, and I'm so happy that it's touching so many people's lives. But I gained over 2,000 followers because of this video. The video has had over 1 million views, and it has seriously blown up. Like, it's still blowing up 2 months later, 3 months later. It started in October, so I don't remember if it was beginning of October or end of October, but like, it is still going, and it is like, I was blown away by that. And so that was another thing. Like, people need more of these videos. People need to realize, like, it's hard. Life is hard, but God is there through everything. And the joy and the peace that you get from His presence helps us through the hard times, whether we realize it or not. If you're struggling with your faith, like, I promise you that if you do the simple things, you are going to get rewarded with the big things, joy and peace and everlasting life. And it is just so, like, people need that. People need that in their lives, especially on social media nowadays. Like, so many people see all of these negative things with the news, or just like reels of like, oh, you like, I don't even know. I don't really pay attention because I have curated my feeds to being positive and uplifting, and I don't really. Maybe I should not be recording podcasts at 10 o'clock at night because I keep yawning. But anyways, like, I don't like to see the negative stuff on my feeds, so I've curated them to be positive. But that reel was just something like, it has impacted a lot of people's lives by the reactions I've got from it. And one of the comments I actually got on the reel inspired one of my podcast episodes, and I had a talk with I commented back to the lady who commented, and she like said my point was correct, and like, she agreed with me, even though she kind of like was arguing with me before I commented back. But it was like, this is it, and it's clear that this is it. And so I've been running and running and running with this idea, and it's finally here. Finally 2 months later, we're here. We are launching this. We are redirecting this business, and I am so excited. So we have social media pages, we have the podcast and video format on YouTube. I am just so blessed to be able to do this. I'm so blessed with my life. I'm so blessed with so many different things. And I think, like, it feels so right to be sharing everything that God has been doing in my life, the good and the bad. And like, we have to go through the hard times to be able to grow, and the good times to be able to see the blessings, and to be able to love life, and to be able to make it what life is meant to be. But there's always going to be the one thing that we have to point back to, and that's God. And there's no doubting that, there's no denying that. And if you deny it, you're just lying to yourself. And I think that it's so important for all of us to understand, like, we cannot be selfish. We have to be living for him, and he has to be getting all of the glory. And another point of this business is talking about taking care of ourselves, but also being able to give back to other people. Like, we have to take care of ourselves so that we can pour into other people's cups. But a lot of people think that taking care of yourself is wrong, and that it takes away time from other people. And while it does, you can't go out into the world and give everything all of the time to people. You have to be doing something for yourself. And the two main things that's going to give you some energy to be able to give is prayer and reading your Bible. So I'm going to tell you a few things that are coming. I was hoping that they would be ready for launch day, but they are not, and I'm not pushing launch day back any further because I'm so excited. I just want to run with the podcast. Like, I just want to go. So I have a journal coming for you guys. I know it's going to be like a digital journal, but I'm also trying to get a physical one going. We will have to see how that comes along. Like, I have to finish a few designing aspects of it and then go from there. But if you want to keep updated with it, make sure to follow the Instagram so that you guys can stay up to date with those details. I'm also designing a planner, so I'm hoping that will be ready by the beginning of the year, but we shall see. And there's some things in the future that are going to be coming. I'm not ready to share them with you yet, but I am very excited to let you guys know that there's a lot coming your way. So if you want to see all the things, like all of the ways that you can connect, make sure to check the link with all of the details. But I want to leave you guys with this. This is the description that I've came up for the Mindful Society. There might be some changes here and there, but like as the first initial description, as something for people to come to now to read and to connect with, here it is. The Mindful Society is a place where people come to heal and develop, with Christ being the center of it all. A Christian-based focus on holistic health. The mind, body, and soul are beautiful creations from God, so healing them and prospering in growth is so necessary to be our best for His kingdom. The Mindful Society has a podcast and various social media pages and groups to connect with anyone who needs a place filled with Christian morals, raw emotions, hard topics, real life, joy, love, peace, and God. And I cannot wait to see how He uses this for His kingdom. And I do want to say, some people might not know what holistic health is. Holistic health is just like healing your mind, body, and soul, basically. The mental, physical, and spiritual parts of you, healing them and bettering them to be able to like just grow and be better for yourself and for other people. So that is basically what holistic health is: mind, body, soul, mental, physical, spiritual, and we're all doing it with Christ in the middle. Christ is the center. So I really hope that you guys are going to follow along with this journey of just being in the presence of God and giving Him all of the glory and healing and growing and just doing everything that we can to be our best for Him and to live like Him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. yawn again. So I think this is time for me to go. Sorry, I yawned 3 times, and if you guys cannot tell, I do not cut the podcast episode at all. The only thing that I edit is like the beginning and the end of the YouTube video, but like that's it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys want any more information, there's gonna be some information in the show notes, so make sure to check it out, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I am so excited. I literally cannot believe this is happening. I really cannot believe that this is happening. I will see you guys next week for the next episode.